Welcome back, everyone, to the 1976 Disco Nova project. Still ain't done anything with the fenders. I did get the core support on. It was kind of mangled when I didn't realize it until I put it on that it had a tow hook attached to it here that it actually pulled the whole entire center of the core support towards the ground. So I wrestled it around, finally got it to line up. But it was, you know, for a perfect 50-year-old part, it's a shame that somebody had to mangle it. It had very little rust on it. It come out really clean. Got all the seam sealer on and put some, got a little run there, but I think that was in the paint before I ever painted over it. Put some seam sealer on where it all had fallen off and flaked off, repainted it. Now I've got the exhaust out. This thing's got stainless exhaust and it's not pretty, but it works. Looks like it may have had a little bit of a leak back here. It had turn downs right before the rear end. Had these turn downs on it. And they didn't work that great. I didn't like them. I don't like them coming out. These are Thrush turbo mufflers. They're pretty good. They whistle a little bit. But what I've got to do is I've got to put this 45 on here. I got it marked somewhere. Put it on here to that line, but as you can see, it doesn't fit. And this is mild steel. This is not stainless. But what I plan on doing is getting these welded up. And this is also stainless here, this coupler. And it's got to go into this. It fits kind of loose, just like the other one did. But I've got a stretcher right there. I want to stretch this a little bit till I get a nice tight fit here. And I'm thinking about stretching this one. This is real thin stainless. I gotta be real careful when I weld it. I welded the driver's side already, and it around where I welded the stainless to the mild steel, it looked like it's been TIG welded. It welded really good, but when I got down to the other end welding to this thick stainless, it bubbled up and didn't penetrate very well. I guess I didn't have it hot enough. Another thing I noticed is we had a fan on which was blowing all my gas away, so I was getting all these rusty little globs everywhere. And I realized that after I was done. I'm going to take it off and grind it back flat and maybe touch it up a little bit, but I have to take it off anyway to get those tips off. So I'm going to weld this together, or get set up to weld, and we'll come back. Well, it's not beautiful, but it is sealed. Welding stainless to this mild steels, it can be done. You just have to take your time. Got a few good spots, but all in all, I'd say it'll hold. But I had these pieces marked where I could weld them together. But when I cleaned this one up and stretched it, I lost my mark, so I'm gonna have to go under there and bolt this back onto the car. Oh yeah, when you put one of these flanges together, remember to put your flange back on. I don't know. I don't want to tell you what it takes to remember that, but if you do it, if you make the mistake of leaving it off, you will remember. But I'm gonna put this on the car and bolt it back on, and want to put this exhaust right back on and see about getting it over top of the rear end. Well, here it is welded up. I got the flange up here welded up. And then put this part on here, and it went pretty good. I had to stretch it just slightly to make it have a tighter fit than the driver's side. The driver's side was real loose and didn't work out very good. So now I'm ready to put it back up under the car. I had to straighten this end here up where it was squished, and it's still a little bit crooked. It should fit just inside of this 2.5 inch pipe, because that was 2 1/4. But it doesn't hardly fit. I may end up, whatever one of these bends I decide to use, I'll probably have to flare it just slightly. I've been using the Super Stretcher 5000 on there. That it's got all these different fittings for stretching pipe, inside diameter pipe. And it won't take much just to stretch one of these mild steel ones and put over top of it. That's going to be the bend that goes over the rear end. So I have to get it back up under the car and clamp back on before I can decide how I want to do that. So I want to wrestle this thing back under here, and we'll take a look at it once it's in. It's time for just the tip. I'm completely missing it. There's the fire truck. It's a well back to me. Well, I got it that time. Welded it right to the deal. It ain't pretty. I have a hard time staying on the line. I can't see it. Got a light here somewhere. That's not working. I don't guess it really matters if this piece leaks anyway. It's just a tip. Well, it's not completely terrible. It's not great either. But good enough for what we're going to do with it. Pretty nice tips though. I scratched them a little bit. We're going to be under the car. Get this measured up and have to cut it. Well, I got her welded up. It ain't pretty. Well, as soon as I turned the camera on, the battery went dead. But I got everything welded up. I'm gonna leave these doors open a minute. And I've got some automotive high temperature primer and some high temperature paint. It's a kind of an aluminum color. So I'm going to spray these pipes are just steel, mild steel. They're not coated with anything. I'm going to spray these pretty good and let them dry tonight. Then I'll put them on in the morning. And I guess we'll come back and pick up there. So I'm going to wipe these down and give these a coat. And I'll come back in a minute and we'll take a look at it. Well, we got everything painted with that ceramic paint. Rust-Oleum high heat ceramic coating, and of course this is the primer. But got everything cleaned up. The welds aren't great, but it looks decent. All I'm trying to do is keep it from rusting like the rest of the pipes. Some of the pipes are stainless or they're coated. I think they're stainless. But we'll let this dry tonight, and we'll get out here tomorrow and slap at least one side under the car. Then I got to build the driver's side. And hopefully it'll turn out a little better than this one. But it doesn't matter. We're not entering a contest and nobody's ever going to see this. So it's good enough for who it's for. And I'm plenty happy with it. I know one thing, building your own exhaust out of these little pieces is way harder than just going to the exhaust shop. But if you think about it though, I'm only going to have about $100 in it. Plus the paint, probably about $20 in the paint. So really, it's not going to be that bad. That's better than paying $500-600. And part of it's stainless. I got stainless headers, and the old pipes that come off of it was stainless. So it'll work out good. We'll pick this back up tomorrow when it's daylight. Well, now we got it all painted up. Got the chrome unmasked down here. It's got a few little dents in it. I don't know if I've done that, or I probably did, but I never noticed it before. The welds are horrible, but everything goes where it's supposed to go. So now I gotta take the front part of it off and paint it up. And I'll have the passenger side done and repeat the process on the driver's side. So we'll come back to this in a few minutes whenever I get the other parts painted. Well, I've got this pipe on the driver's side taken out, cleaned it up. Well, the welds ain't great. I went ahead and welded this one, took the clamp off of it. It had a clamp holding the muffler onto the original pipe. I'm starting to think, instead of being stainless, this is some kind of galvanized or aluminized pipe. It's kind of rusty in spots, and it welds weird. And put some nasty welds up here, but at least I sealed up all my little pinholes. So I'm ready to put this back onto the driver's side and get it lined up and see what it looks like. And then I gotta start the tailpipe piece. I've got the tailpipe piece on the other side all the way out. Got it on here. Got it under there. You just got a clamp on it for now. I've got to put a clamp above this tire. And I guess it's going to clear my tire. I haven't put the tire on it to see, but I think it's going to clear the tire. I've got to put a clamp up there on top. I got another clamp here that's really ugly. I think I may crawl under there and weld that hanger on and get rid of that clamp. I've got some different types of hangers that have weld on rods. And of course there's the tip out there. So this side is pretty much done. I may put a couple tacks down there to keep it attached to the muffler. And I may weld it all the way around. I'm not decided yet. Once I get all my clamps on, I'll probably do that. It's hard to get that thing centered because it doesn't exactly fit. Spin it. Okay, we'll have to use a wrench. Oops. Don't hardly fit on there. Probably have to come back with a ratchet, tighten these up. So that's on there pretty good. We got those bolts on, and it seems like it's clearing everything real good. I dropped it low here because I've got a shifter, so it's going to be a little bit low, but it'll be fine. A little bit of metal showing. There's our green monster torque converter. Looks like I've got to clean some oil up and see what's leaking. I think it's the oil sending unit. But you can see those headers wrapped from under here. Everything looks decent. So I've got in some mud somewhere. There's mud everywhere, and that is bent. What has happened? Oh, I know what done that. When the wheel ran off back a few years ago, it must have bent all this stuff up. Along with taking out the fender, it bent a bunch of other things. So both sides are on. Looking halfway decent. Tucked up away. I still got to get, I got that side done, the passenger side, but I still got to get the driver's side run up and over the rear end. And I've welded this one, but I've left the clamp on that side, which I should have welded it to, which I probably will. I think I'm gonna weld every joint. And I got plenty of clearance on my drive shaft. I gotta take this drive shaft out. I was gonna take it off while I had the mufflers off of it and I forgot. But we gotta put this rear seal in this transmission. This is a fairly new transmission, but the car never gets drove, so it's just sitting, started leaking over time. It may come back and quit leaking, but I don't want to take a chance on it. I've got another seal, I'm gonna put it in. And I gotta get this crazy, horrible Fram oil filter off here that I put on 20 years ago. It ain't been that long, but the car just sits. It probably doesn't have 1,000 miles on it, but I don't know when the last time we changed the oil was, but we're gonna change it, get it out of there. The car's pretty solid underneath. A little bit of filth right here that doesn't look hardly right. It's a fender bolt. The fender bolt's broke out of the other side. I gotta get it out and I gotta weld a nut to it and take it out or drill it out one. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. I didn't get to finish the exhaust out to the bumper on this side. I like to do it in the daytime when I can open the doors, and I've had the doors open all day, but I've been mowing. So I have my table and everything set up outside so I could cut, and didn't get to. I got busy. Life happens, but we'll get back to it. But I'm not gonna be able to finish it, I guess, this episode. We've also got some carbon fiber. We're gonna try to hydro dip these panels. And I've got one of the little kits. It's a cheap kit. It may turn out to be trash, but you have to have a special spray paint or automotive paint, but it has a long open time. It doesn't set up as fast as car paint or spray paint. So I'm gonna sand these down real good and get all the little nicks and stuff leveled out and get it good and smooth, these little panels. I think they're fiberglass. I'm not sure what they're made out of. And clean it up, paint it, and then drop it through some hydro dip and try to make it look carbon fiber. And if it doesn't look good, I've got another technique that I'm going to use. If that hydro dip don't work, I'll sand it and paint it again, and then use this stuff here. If I can find some. I know I've got some in one of these drawers here. It's that. I guess it's like this, but it's got square holes in it. It's a shelf paper, and that square hole shelf paper you can use to spray through it and make a carbon fiber look. I watched the video on it. It looks like it's a lot easier than the hydro dip, so we're going to try both ways and see which one works best. And you'll get to ride along with me, and we'll either succeed or we'll fail, but either way we'll all be there together. But I do appreciate you guys watching. If you've not subscribed already, please subscribe. We like 250 subscribers to getting our total that we need, and we only just need a few. So if you guys would please, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Stay clean, everybody.